Hello and welcome. In the previous video, we learned who these small players were. Correct? In this video, we will know about the big players of the stock market. Alright. Now, these are the small players and these are the big players. Now, why do we call these as small players and why do we call these as big players? This is because when the small players buy or sell shares, it doesn't impact the market price of the stocks. Whereas when these players buy or sell the shares, it may have a great impact on the market price. Okay? Now, in reality, arbitrators and hedgers are big players. Okay? Arbitration and hedging can be done when someone has a lot of money. But then these can be done with small amount also. And so I put these two in the category of small players. Okay? But in reality, arbitrators and hedgers are big players. Alright? So first we have asset management companies. These are the companies which take money from people like you and me, pool it and then collectively invest in stocks. And they are called as mutual funds. Okay. Next we have foreign institutional investors or FIIs. You might have heard in the news that FIIs have removed money from the market or they have invested in the market. We will see what these are too in detail. Next, we have domestic institutional investors or the DIIs. Now, they are from within the country. Okay, these are from abroad and these are from within the country. Next is high net worth individuals or individuals with a lot of money. Okay, and then we have banks and NBFCs. These are financial companies which are not banks, but they can give or lend out money. Okay, so we will see all these one by one in detail. Alright, let us start with the first big player, which is asset management companies or mutual fund companies, mutual fund houses. Okay, now these are some of the top mutual fund companies from India. What do? They collect money from retail investors, people like you and me, and then invest our money in the stock market. Okay? They invest our money in the stock market. So, whenever the stocks in which the mutual fund companies have invested in moves up, they get profit. And out of that profit, they give us some. Okay? They keep some of the profit. Of course, they are they are also working and so they need to earn profit too. So some of the profit will be kept by them and the rest will be given to us. Okay? So these are asset management companies. Next are FIIs or foreign institutional investors. Now I am from India. So any investor who is not from India but has invested in the Indian stock market is a foreign institutional investor. Okay. If you are from America and if any investor from outside of America invests in the American stock market, then he becomes a foreign institutional investor to you. For example, I am from India, you are from America. Let us assume. If I invest in your stock market, then I will be an FII. Alright. Now what are these? These may be individual investors. Individual investors, meaning investors with a lot of money from outside the country. I and you are retail investors. Okay. So individual investors with a lot of money from outside the country will be considered as an FII. Okay. Mutual fund houses from outside the country. For example, American mutual fund companies may invest in Indian companies, meaning they may buy the stocks of Indian companies. If that is the case, then they will be considered as FIIs. Then the hedge fund companies from outside the country. They may invest in Indian stock market. Okay. Infrastructure companies from outside may invest in the Indian stock market. Why? Because they may predict a growth or they may see a growth in the Indian stock market, and that is why they come and invest here. If they see a potential growth in another country, they will go there and invest in their stock market. Okay. So these are general foreign institutional investors. Alright. Next, we have domestic institutional investors. Pension fund houses and insurance companies are the main domestic institutional investors. Okay. Pension companies. Some companies give out or have pension schemes. The government gives out pensions, correct? So the pension funds are invested in the stock market. They have people who analyze the stock market. Alright. And before investing, they analyze and invest. They do not just put all the money in the stock market randomly. Okay. Next, we have banks. Okay, banks. Banks of any particular company. I am from India. So Indian banks. Banks will be investing in the stocks of a country. Along with banks, we have non-banking financial companies or NBFCs. NBFCs are not banks, meaning we cannot have a savings account or a current account and we cannot draw checks there. Okay. So we cannot do all these things in NBFCs. But these NBFCs can lend out money or they can give loan. Okay. For example, I have listed out 4 companies here. There are many others also. Alright. So all these are NBFCs. We can borrow a loan from them, but we cannot open a savings account or a current account with them. Okay. Now, these NBFCs will also invest in the stock market. Okay. If they do, then we consider them as big players. Alright. Next, we have high net worth individuals. These are individuals, meaning people like you and me, but with a huge amount of money. Okay, huge amount of money. They too invest their money in the stock market. All right. Now, these are some of the big players. Big players invest a huge amount of money in the stock market, and that is why they may have an impact on the market price of a share. All right. Now, apart from this HNI, the intention of others, meaning FIIs, DIIs, banks, NBFCs, mutual fund companies, is to create wealth. Create wealth for those who have invested in them. Okay? For HNIs, it is their personal wealth which must grow, and that is why they invest in the stock market. All right. Now, what are the features of big players? First is that they affect the market, or they affect the market price of stocks. For example, if the big players decide to invest in a stock of a company or shares of a company, then the demand for that stock or shares goes up, and so does the market price. Okay? But if for any reason the big players want to remove money from a company, meaning sell the shares of that particular company, then there will be more supply, and so the market price may come down. Okay? This is what we call stocks are falling or stocks are rising in our local terms. Okay? Basically, when they remove money, they remove it in crores. Okay? Crores. Hundreds of crores. All right. And when that much amount of money is removed from the market, suddenly the market comes down. It means the market price of the stock comes down. So when they buy it using crores of rupees, and so the price goes up. All right. In one of my videos, I had taught you about different sectors, correct? We have pharmaceutical companies, we have automotive companies, we have insurance companies, we have banking sectors, and so on. Now, what happens is sometimes FIIs, if they find a sector is not performing properly, or not only FIIs, others, okay, if some big player finds that some particular segment in which they had invested is not working properly, then they will remove the money from that particular sector and invest in another sector. For example, assume that the big players had invested in stocks of automotive companies. Okay? Now, according to their analysis, they decide that automotive sector is not performing well, and the pharmaceutical sector is performing well and will grow in the future. So what they do is they remove the money from automotive sector or automotive companies, and then they put it in pharmaceutical companies. And when I say they put it in pharmaceutical companies, it is buying the shares of the pharmaceutical companies. Okay? And when they do this, the market price or share prices of automotive companies comes down, and the share prices of pharmaceutical companies goes up. And this happens simultaneously, meaning one will be falling and one will be rising. Okay? So there are many things that can happen. But as I said, the big players affect the market price. Okay? The next is that the big players are interested in bonus shares, dividends, rights issues, and voting rights. We have learnt about all these, correct? So the big players are interested in all of these. By getting these, they earn money, right? They create wealth, and so they are interested in them. Next is that they hedge and arbitrate to protect their portfolio. Okay? To protect their money. And they do this only when it is required. They do this only when it is required. If it is not required, then they do not do that. Okay? So these two are the main features which make them big players. All right? Yes. So this is about big players of stock market.